Lucy Mecklenburgh says she hates having to force a collection of medicines onto her son every day after he was rushed to hospital due to a virus that affected his breathing. The 30-year-old reality star is currently pregnant with her second child after she and 37-year-old fiancé Ryan Thomas welcomed their son, named Roman, in March last year. Poorly Roman was rushed to hospital earlier this year after Lucy and Ryan found he had turned blue while in his cot and was struggling to breathe. Lucy has already revealed she needs to help Roman use an inhaler multiple times a day in order to battle the virus. However, she has now shared even more details of the medications the tot is on. Taking to Instagram over the weekend, Lucy shared a photo of a collection of bottles full of medicine as well as inhalers and what looked like syringes sitting on a marbled surface. Explaining the collection of items were for her young son, Lucy wrote alongside the snap, "Roman's medication at the moment." She added, "I don't know who hates this more, me or him." Lucy previously opened up about the heart-stopping moment she found her baby struggling to breathe and recounted rushing him to hospital. She told the Snot, Sweat and Tears podcast, "So I heard sort of grumbles at 3 a.m. and like I think we all do, well, if they're not sounding like it's a big scream and they're in pain, you think, oh well, they're just having a little dream." "I watched him on the monitor and he seemed fine, and at 4 a.m. something didn't feel right. I watched him on the monitor and he was moving very slowly, side to side, and I thought, this doesn't feel right and I want to go and see him," she continued. "I think it's in all of us, and as mums we just know, don't we? Anyway, Basildon Hospital and St Mary's in London, I just want to say a huge thank you. I was in the safest hands ever." Fighting back tears, Lucy said, "They absolutely were wonderful and I need to thank them and the ambulance service for arriving so promptly, for keeping my son here, and it's, God, it's quite emotional actually, talking about that." The former TOWIE star fears that the pandemic has made her son more susceptible to infections as he has been less exposed to simple viruses and diseases because of lockdowns, arguing this has affected the development of his immune system. She said, "I don't know this for a fact, but I think potentially Roman was born 10 days before COVID, and because he was kept so isolated, literally isolated for 6 months, he didn't have the chance to fight off viruses." So when he was in hospital, the test came back that he had 6 viruses, so what looked to me as a snotty nose was 6 viruses, so that's what his little body was having to fight, and that's potentially why he was so poorly and got to the stage of needing a ventilator. But it does make you think, if he had been in a normal world at the beginning, would he have been able to fight those viruses? Would he have already had them and fought them off? Do you know what I mean? He wouldn't have had 6 at once. Lucy also previously detailed her ordeal via Instagram as a cautionary warning to other parents who might want to look out for similar symptoms. She wrote, "Roman had a viral-induced wheeze, so a couple of times in the last 2 months he wakes up with a slight cold in the morning. He has a little wheeze by lunchtime, and by dinner time we are in A&Es. He's struggling to breathe, as we can see his chest is sucking in and working really hard. We are usually out by the morning after the nebulizer, oxygen and steroids, and monitoring overnight. This time, however, he had a little wheeze at lunchtime but no wheeze before bed, and he seemed completely fine other than a snotty nose. I still gave him 2 puffs of his inhaler before bed just in case." When I heard very quiet cries of distress at around 4 a.m. I went in his room. He was blue/gray, floppy when I picked him up, in and out of consciousness and sick in his mouth. I called 999, cleared his mouth and gave him his inhaler. I wish I could say I stayed calm, but I really didn't.